welcome to a bit of a geography lesson. So we did a little bit of geography recently, but now I want to push it forward and we're going to do a bit of a unit over maybe a couple of weeks on the UK and particularly on UK rivers. And I've got a really useful online tool which I hope you'll all be able to access that will enable you to explore the UK, look at rivers and find out what you need to know. So we would have done this as a geography topic this term, so it's going to be really helpful to be able to do it like this. So I'm going to show you on my screen, and it will probably take you several sessions to do that, so you can just pause the video, come back to it whenever you want. This is not like watch the whole thing, just watch a little bit of it and then do that. Okay, so first of all, here's my screen, and what you need to do is go to Digimaps for schools. Now you have to make sure that you go for Digimaps for schools because there's a Digimaps for adults and that looks completely different, and it's not as easy to use. So we're going to log in, and I will give you the login later on. And what you get is this map like this, and it's absolutely fine just to play around with it. So on my mouse I can scroll in and out. You've got the whole world. It just automatically starts with the UK map, and if you want to go back to where you started, you just go on this refresh start again, and we'll go back to that initial view. But yeah, play around with it. You can also scroll up and down here, so you can zoom right in, or you can zoom right out on here. If you prefer, as I do, you can do it with your mouse wheel, and as ever, you can pick it up and move it and that sort of thing. So we're going to be particularly looking at the UK. So I'm going to start there, and I'm going to tell you about some of the features first, and then I'll talk you through what the different little mini projects that you've got the next 2 weeks to do. So first of all, I want to show you this map selector tool. So on the map selector, if I click the down arrow, you can see that we've got two different selectors here. So you can just choose between those different sort of maps. And in fact, you see this little scroller here, you can scroll between the two, so you can actually overlay the two. Now, normally I've got more options than that. I'm not sure why that's not coming up. Normally I've got more that I can go on, and I'll try and work out why that is in a minute. All right, so for the moment, I just want your normal atlas like this. Over here, you've got all your tools, which you can get rid of if you want. You can just zoom that away. You can collapse it here, but I find it quite useful to just keep it open. We're not going to use all of the facilities. It's amazing what this program can do, but we're just going to do a few little things here. So the first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to use the search tool, which is looking for places, and you can see here I've searched for Lickhill Primary School before. In fact, if you do that, it can't find it. It actually goes somewhere it goes to Italy. And that's because it's not a proper place. I mean, obviously it is a proper place, but it's not a town or a city or whatever. So what we need to do instead is search for Lickhill, and we get Worcestershire, and there we are. So we're in Stourport, we're in familiar ground, and again we can zoom in, and then I can find out where the school is, and there it is. You can see where it says schools, and I'm zooming in and I'm zooming in and I'm zooming in, and you can see it's really amazing. So I'm looking at this now, and I can see all the roads. That's our school, obviously. This isn't there anymore, is it? Well, it's the Astro now. And here's preschool, St Wolstan's, and here's Forest School. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a few little things that you can do, and I'm going to practice it on this area, and then you're going to have some other jobs. So one of the things that I really like about this, let's just get rid of those so it's nice and clear, is the measuring that you can do. And some of the little projects that I'm going to get to do, you're going to have to learn how to measure. You're going to get the measurement tools, and you've got a choice between distance and area. So let's say you wanted to measure the distance between the main door of the school and the end of Almond Way, whatever you wanted to do. So you're going to click at the start, and you can see that little dotted pink line, and I'm going to stretch it out, and I'm going to click it once again, and that's just going to enable me to put like a little marker in, and then I can move on. So click again, click again. Now when I click again this time, I want it to the end because I've got to the end of Almond Way and I want to do a double click. Sometimes it doesn't quite work for me. But there you go, it's measured it all, 137.4 meters. All right, so that's a really cool thing to be able to do. What else could we measure? We could find out how far it is from the main, like the back door to the playground from the school down to the end of Forest School. So again, I'm going to click where I want to start, and that one I could just do completely straight because you could just run straight out down there. And there I so if I double click, and there I've got the distance there. Oh no, I still haven't put it down properly. I've done one click too many. All right, so that's quite straightforward. If you want to leave those measurements on, you can, and in fact you can save them out like that, or you can do delete measurements, and it says there click on measurement to delete. So if I wanted to, let's say I take that one away, that silly one that I did there, I want to take that away if I can. Can't quite do it. Doesn't want to go. There we go. And I want to leave that one, I can do that. I want to show you area now. Supposing I wanted to find the area of the school. So I'm going to look, this is the main school building. And I'm going to click at the beginning, doesn't matter where, but I'm just going to start somewhere. And again, I'm going to stretch that out to the end. Now we could, look how that opens out into a rectangle. It's almost a square, isn't it? I could just do that, double click at the end, and it tells me, keep doing too many clicks. You'll find you do that as well. Nope, still there. Hey, nope. Finally done it. So I've got the area worked out there for me. But it is cleverer than that. You can do it much more accurately because you can see that I've just done a sort of rough guess there to see roughly what it is. So if I just delete that measurement a minute, and I go back to area, I'm going to start in the same place, but this time I'm going to take much more care. I'm going to go up that little tiny bit and along there, and up that little bit and along there, and down there, and up there. That's a little covered area. So now I'm going around the outside of the new reception, and there's the main entrance. And now I've gone all the way around, and you can see that I've done it again. Ah, that's annoying. I'll do it again. Do you find it quite fiddly to put it down at the end? And you'll see what I mean when you have a go yourself. Yay! And there you are. So it automatically calculates for you what that area is, which is quite cool. Well, I think it's quite cool. So that's how you find. So we've done searching, we've done zooming in and out, we've done the different maps, we've looked at how to measure distances and how to measure area. I'm going to reset the map now. Remember that little picture that I showed you up there, how to do. I want to show you one more thing before I tell you what your actual projects are. So the other thing is down here it says image search. So you remember how I showed you before that you can search for a place up here? Down here you've got a different sort of search. I could search for anything here. I could search for horse. And what I get is a map that shows me where all the photos of horses are. Now that's an awful lot of photos of horses. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clear that and show you how. Supposing I was zoomed into a much smaller area. Let's say I was in a really, I'm going to zoom in and in and in and in and in. So you can see I'm now just looking at a few fields here. And now look, if I do that same thing again, image search, horse, there might not be any. Okay, so there aren't any, and in fact under here it says no images found. And that's because it only searches for the image in the space that you're zoomed in. So you'll see as I zoom out, we may get some horse images. Yet, not yet. There we go. So in this area we have one picture of a pale horse. and we can go and look at that if we want. Here is the little camera symbol, and if we wanted to, we can have a look and make that bigger. It's called a pale horse, but I'm sure a lot of you know they're really called palominos, and you'll quite often find that there's a little bit of information about it if you just scroll down a bit. All right, so that can be really useful, and we're going to use that in a bit. I'm going to show you that once more. So image search. Let's search for something else now. Let's search for oh, I don't know. Let's search for bridges. And you can see in the same bit, I've got 7 photos of bridges there, and I've got 5 over here and 2 down here. And as you can imagine, I've got lots along the river there, so it can be really useful to find out particular features. So there you go. I've clicked on that. I can have a little look, and there's a bridge with the canal underneath it. Okay, so that's your main introduction to Digimaps. At this point, I would probably pause the video and go online and just have a little play around with it and explore it for yourself. However, I will carry on and show you what your tasks are. So, first of all, I want you just to do an Exploring Lickhill project, and I've put all this on Edmodo in the folders for this week under Geography, as you imagine. So first of all, I want you to explore around Lickhill. I want you to find out a number of questions, like I want you to find out what's the biggest primary school in Stourport. In fact, I will put this on the screen. So this is what your little quiz will look like. Which is the biggest primary school in Stourport? How far is it to walk to the Civic? Sorry, I should have capital letters there. How big is Forest School? So you can use the area tool there. How far is it from Lickhill Primary School to your house? What's the area of the Memorial Park? And how far to walk or drive to your high school? That's from your house. So that's all about just getting you used to using Digimaps. All right. So that is your little project to start you off. Next thing is getting a little bit more challenging. So here you're going to have one of these. First of all, I want to check you know that what the countries are in the UK and what their capital cities are. So that's nothing to do with Digimaps, that's just basic knowledge. Then we've got a little bit of information about rivers for you to fill in to make sure, because we're looking at rivers quite a lot, that you know what the different pieces of vocabulary are. And I'm also going to put a little glossary in the folders if you don't know what some of these things are. So that's just to fill in. Now, this is your main task. You are going to have a little look at this UK map, and you can see I've got 12 different rivers, and your job is to find out using Digimaps which one is which and being able to label them. Okay, so how are you going to do that? Well, what you're going to do, I'm going to go back to Digimaps, I'm going to scroll out. In fact, I think I'm going to clear everything and go back to the very beginning to make sure I've got a clean slate and nothing. So supposing I was looking for the River Medway, what I might put in here, I could do it through images. Let's have a go at that. So if I put River Medway in there, you will see almost all of my photos are down there. And if I scroll in, I'm beginning to see a little bit of the line of the river there, which is in fact near where I used to live down in Kent. So this is where I was born in Canterbury, and I did a lot of growing up around here. So I can see the line of that River Medway there just by looking at those images. So when I'm coming to completing my map, I know that it's down here. It's not actually one of these because obviously I'm not going to do one of yours for you. But I can see that it's actually down here in Kent, and I'm going to be able to mark it. So that's a good way of finding it. I'm just going to put it into the image search. I could have put it in the main search bar. Let's see what happens there. I'm going to refresh the map. I'm going to put in here Medway River. And you see the problem there is it just goes to a particular part of it. So I'd recommend using the images because that's going to show you the whole flow of the river. Nonetheless, if you did do that, and you can scroll out, and you should be able to, but you can't because it's put you in a completely different country. So go for images, because the Medway River is not in Florida. Okay, so you're going to do that using images. Let's go back to the rivers doodle. You're then, down here, you've got 1 to 8 questions. And all of these questions are using Digimaps and looking at rivers. And it's things like, so this is probably like the 3rd or 4th day of you doing the project. So one of them is to find the source of a river. So for that second section, you've got to choose one of those rivers. Okay. So let's say I've chosen the Medway, and I'm going to find various features of the river along the way. So refresh the map and image search. So if I wanted to find the source, so the start of the Medway, oh, can't find it. That's surprising. I did this earlier with the 7, and it was fine about that. So if I put in 7 source, as in the river 7, I can see here that that is my likely where it's going to be, because I've got those 2 images. I want you to be able to find that. There's a picture of the source of the river. It starts in this funny little place that's nothing in particular. I've got 2 pictures to look at there. And that's the beginning of the river that flows past Stourport and then past Worcester. It's just through here. All right. So it would be great if you could copy that into a Word document and then show me that. But if you can't do that, let's not worry. Let's just have a look and find the source of whichever river you've chosen. I hope this is making sense. I know I'm saying quite a lot all at the same time. And so that's the first one, just exploring it all around school. This is the second one. Find those rivers and then find a series of images which it explains to you here. All right. Some of it you're going to need some river vocabulary, which you should know by the end of year 6. Things like meander, and you've got to find a meander like I've done here. So, as I say, I've got a glossary for you if you don't know what it means. You're going to have a little look at flooding and so on. And that's the end, I think, of your little project. I'm going to also, I'm not going to do it on this video, but I'm also going to set you some work to work out how coordinates work on maps. So there's another bit of it, but it doesn't involve Digimaps. It's much easier to do it without. And there's a little treasure hunt challenge that I hope you'll enjoy on that. So what you will see when you go into your folder, you will see all of these things. You'll see the little introduction that I've just given you. You'll see instructions about the Exploring Lick Hill bit. You'll see some information about rivers, glossary. That's the document I showed you. And then there's the coordinates challenges. All right. Hope that's making sense. So it's a little study of the UK using Digimaps. It's a wonderful, wonderful tool that I've only recently discovered, but I've been enjoying playing around on. So much that you can explore. And obviously, give me a shout if you get stuck. But with any luck, you will not too much. And I'm going to give you 2 weeks to do this, so it's plenty of time just to dip into it and out of it, and as you want and as you've got time. And that will get your geography knowledge a little bit polished up for next year. All right. Speak soon.